Nobody hates white people because of their color. White people are hated in the world because of their evil against themselves and the people of the world. You have no interest in us whatsoever. How dare you say that I'm bad for black-Jewish relations? What black people do you relate to? You don't relate to the black people on 43rd Street in Chicago, 63rd Street on the west side. We don't see a Jew. We don't know what you look like. So what kind of relationship am I messing up for you? Factories in America closed down and moved to Mexico and other places where labor is cheap.
Brothers and sisters, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, the Caucasians have tried to erase the black history, and they have tried so much to intimidate black folks long after they used them in the slavery period, and in which they made sure their countries were built by the sweat of black folks. Now, these are not my words. These are the words of the one and only Louis Farrakhan. Now, it must be remember that Louis Farrakhan has been fighting for the rights of black minority in the US, and he has been speaking the truth, and he has been telling them how much the black folks built America, how much the black folks built the European Union and all that stuff. So let's watch this video and have a very quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
If our actions go uncorrected, they bring in their wake consequences that may not be good for the actor. Great nations like this one have gone to ruin because people were hateful of truth. They despised that which corrected them. What makes one despise correction? It is arrogance. Arrogance is a state of mind that blinds us to truth. For we begin to feel that we are better than, bigger than, above criticism. How dare you tell me that I'm wrong? Do you know who I am? Truth, frankly, doesn't give a damn. Truth doesn't care who you are. Truth doesn't care what your position is. President is not above truth. Pope is not above truth. Prophet is not above truth. King is not above truth. Truth is the root of the universe. The universe may pass away, but the truth shall remain. So truth is what our lives are given to serve. It is truth that evolves us. It is truth that nurtures us. It is truth that makes us come into the path of God and makes us reflect the Creator. Truth. Falsehood created nothing. Falsehood can never be sustained. So you are at this university paying tens of thousands of dollars. Your parents are for you young students, white and black and Jew and Gentile, to get the truth that you may make a better life for yourself and a better world in which you and we can live. The problem is arrogance blinds us to truth. Look, there is no discipline that you are studying where the person who wrote the book has a knowledge of that discipline that is absolute. God didn't write the textbook. So if Freud wrote it, it has a lot to be desired. Socrates was brilliant, but he wasn't God. So If you read Socrates, if you read Plato, if you read Tillich, whoever you read, if you read Dewey, if you read Machiavelli, whoever you read, not God. So what you are reading is a person who has studied what the Creator created and drew from the creation his perception of the truth and wrote it down in a book and made a dissertation or wrote a thesis. And that became your book. So you're studying from a student who has not yet perfected the discipline. So if you are not trained to stand on the shoulders of the great thinkers, to look beyond them, then you become enslaved to that which is imperfect, and you become non-functional in a world that needs your mind. Listen, students. Listen. You are born for this day, for this time. Your minds are equipped to go beyond a man that wrote 100 years ago, 25 years ago, even 10 years ago. You must never be enslaved to your teachers. You must honor and respect them, but stand on their shoulders and move more toward the absolute. Knowledge is not a stagnant thing. Knowledge is an ever-evolving thing as we move toward perfection. But once you stop the evolutionary process saying, I got it, that's when you lost it. Because what we know you could put on the head of a common pin and it would have much room left on that pin in comparison to what is in the universe for us yet to learn. The fact that we have a problem with garbage. Just think about that. Big problem. What are you going to do with your garbage? Oh, now, does that sound like trivia? Here's a barge going up and down the Atlantic Ocean filled with garbage, trying to find some place to dump it. Now, for 20 years, it's Earth Day. Isn't that wonderful? At last, after you all been in power all these years, you've learned now, oh my God, we better do something to protect the earth. The Native American could have told you that the day you met them. The Native Americans are the number one protectors of the environment. All their writings, all their speeches, all their old prophecies deal with environment. Why didn't we learn from them? Well, after all, I mean, they're nothing but savages, heathens. We are the great Christians who came to civilize these savages and teach them about the Lord Jesus Christ. You mean the Lord Jesus Christ didn't hip you all to environment? You mean one who came to lead and guide us into all truth didn't tell you to protect the earth? But greed, you see, arrogance, cause you to pollute the earth, pollute the air, pollute the water. Now you have a problem with garbage. But of course, you are studying economics. Isn't that interesting? And the Creator has no problem with anything. He recycles everything. What a masterful economist. But of course, God, let's leave him out of this, because what does God know? You put your little cheap knowledge above the knowledge of the Creator. And that's why you're in the condition that you're in. Because they fear a voice that they don't control, that black people are listening to. Today, every black leader that we have is being manipulated. So that today we have a beautiful mayor in New York, Mayor Dinkins, and a governor in Virginia, Governor Wilder, and a mayor in Seattle, and a new mayor in Cleveland, and a new mayor in Hartford, and we applaud. And when they write of these black men, they say, these are the new politicians. They are non-threatening. What does that mean? If I am threatening, for what? I don't shoot anybody. I haven't robbed anybody. I'm not planning to. But I'm threatening to those who have lied to you and deceived you, because Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So now, if the truth makes me threatening, and being courageous enough to tell it makes me threatening, what makes a black man non-threatening? Then if he's non-threatening, he don't belong to you. If he's non-threatening, he's their man, not your man. He looks like you, but he works for them. And that's a hell of a condition to be in. To have a man that you putting your hope in because he comes from your people. But he's not working for his people. There is not an Italian here, not a Greek here, not a Polish person, a Jewish person, an Irish person here who would vote for an Irish, an Italian, or a Jew to go anywhere if they didn't represent Jewish or Italian or Irish interests. You know that to be the fact. Why should we then settle for non-threatening politicians who rule and guide for others and do not stand for us when we are the majority who have elected them? Crossover politicians, they call them. You know what a crossover politician is? A crossover politician is like a crossover singer of songs. You know how it is. We start in the ghetto, where we always start. And we start in those honky-tonk joints where we always start. Nobody hears us there but our own people. They pay 75 cents for a beer, $1 for a beer, and we sing, and the people go out and say, man, did you hear Gladys McKnight or Gladys Knight and the Pips? They are something. And after 20 years on what they call the chitlin circuit, some white person comes in and say, wow. And just like they discovered America with a whole country full of Indians, Just like they discovered Australia with the Aborigines there. They discovered Gladys Knight. They discovered Stevie Wonder. They discovered, and then when they discover us, that's when we're known. You see? Farrakhan has been speaking to black people for 36 going on 37 years. Now, I didn't get discovered. Until the great discoverer, the Christopher Columbus of black leadership, discovered me. I happened to be walking behind the Reverend Jackson, who had just a few years ago been discovered. The very word discovery and the way you use it is a racist kind of term. You're not interested in black people, but when we can make $1 for you, you become interested. When we can move you along, further your aims, your ambitions, your goals, you become interested in black people. But until then, there's great fear among the white Christians that you're going to change your religion. And that's what's written in the Holy Quran, that Pharaoh feared that Moses would change the religion of the children of Israel. Now, what is it about religion? In its truest definition, that America fears. What they taught you as religion was the misuse of the holy and righteous name of Jesus and the misuse of certain aspects of the gospel to make you a better tool of service for white people. My mother didn't go past the 8th grade, but she was smart. A brother from the Philippines was knocking at our door selling Bibles. And if you want to get to black people, just sell them a Bible, because we love God and we love the Word of God. So as the Filipino brother was turning the page, I was just a little boy, and he couldn't say 50. He would say 50. And the Bible, I think, was being sold for, I think, $8.50. And as they were turning the pages, everything in the book was white. He was showing her the beautiful pictures of the Last Supper and all of this, and everybody in it was white. So my mother had the intelligence to ask, say, you mean there's no black people in there? You mean to tell me at the Last Supper there's nobody black there? But the man was quick. He said, yes, 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 but the black was in the kitchen. Wait. My mother told him he could take his so-and-so Bible, and she gave him a good West Indian cussing and drove that dude down the stairs. But I was listening. And when I heard Malcolm X and later the Honorable Elijah Muhammad it was clear to me that the enemy had used the Bible to make black people not a servant of Jesus and his Father, but by painting Jesus and the disciples white, they were subtly making us believe that white people are divine. And as black people, well, what is the opposite of white? And what is the opposite of divine? So then, you see, you then naturally would hate your own blackness. You naturally would hate Africa. You naturally would hate anything that reminded you of your culture and your past, because we were made to believe that what was really ours had no value. And it was done through the church. In a documentary that was on television recently dealing with the rise in America of Islam, a great black theologian said that in the 60s he was about to become a Muslim, because the argument that Muslims had against that form of Christianity was so strong. He could not defend what he believed. And then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad inspired a wave of black theologians who began to put a black face on Christianity. So that right now, you can go to church, and if you listen real good, you'll hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad coming out of the mouth of the preachers. Only instead of saying Allah, instead of saying Muhammad, they'll say Jesus. And you never heard no sports figure or entertainment figure accepting an award and thanking Jesus until Muhammad Ali began winning and praising Allah. So whether you realize it or not, the little nation of Islam has affected every sphere of black life in America. Wait a minute. There's hardly a black organization that I have not been invited to address. Black social workers.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from now. I know this video might not be very much popular, but for the fact that Louis Farrakhan has been talking about the unity of the black community around the world. Now, it's the same message Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso has been talking about for all the 2 years. He has been on the public glare. Now, I really love that most of the black leaders are acknowledging that the failures of the previous generations of the black community was brought by the divisions that coexist in between Africa, the Caribbean, the Latin America, and Europe, you know. And this is the time we should acknowledge that Africa is way back better at the moment, because we have one or two leaders who are acknowledging that the failures of Africa can directly be contributed to the division amongst the black community. Now, I know there is a lot of talk between the similarities of the message of Louis Farrakhan and that of Ibrahim Traore. Now, it must be remembered that Louis Farrakhan has been talking about the cultural and the spiritual leadership that need to exist in the black community. He has been talking about the black community realigning itself and realizing that they are copying a culture that is not theirs, that the manners and the behavioral change between and around the black community that does not belong to them in whichever way. And there is a way and there is need for us to change how we've been behaving and be treating ourselves and our brothers and sisters. Now, I really appreciate the fact that Africa, the Caribbean, the diaspora is opening its eyes to this message, and we are now realizing that we need to do better as people of the black descent, that we need to do better, that we really need moral conservatism, and that the spiritual renewal of where we came from or how we related with our God has been changed over time, that we really need to sit down and realize where the problem is, that we need to emphasize on family values, discipline, sobriety, and spiritual purpose. Now, we really need to actually realize that a lot has been taken away from us, and we need to reject violence, we need to reject drugs, and we need to reject broken families. That's not the black culture, This is whatever the black community has copied, and this is whatever is affecting most black families and brothers and sisters out here. Now, is this not the same message Ibrahim Traore is talking about? Ibrahim Traore is talking about Pan-Africanism. He's talking about blackness. He's talking about making Africa great again. And how are you going to make Africa great again? How are you going to conserve our moral values in Africa if we are not going to unite? Now, don't you see the similarities in between the messages of Ibrahim Traore and that of Louis Farrakhan? Now, it is entirely not true to say that Louis Farrakhan has ever met Ibrahim Traore. That's a lie. Now, we are trying to compare whatever is happening right now, whatever our leader Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso is talking right now, and that which was said back in the days by the minister Louis Farrakhan. Can't you just see how much similarities exist between the two? We want a united front of Africa. We want to make Africa great. We want to change the political and the global voice of Africa. And we want to change the political and the global voice of our diaspora brothers and sisters. We want to change that in the Caribbean. We want to change that in America. We want to change that in Europe. And how are we going to do that? That's the question. Are we willing? Now, the political outreach in Africa, the Caribbean, Middle East, in Europe must be realigned, and we must come back and start where we left, that we must actually sit down, and realize where we made the mistakes and try to correct whatever we've been doing. Now, we need the international diplomacy between Africa, the Caribbean, Middle East, and just around the world where black community exists is very poor. That we need to start uniting Africa with the Caribbean, with the diaspora. And this is whatever Ibrahim Traore has been doing. And this is whatever he has been saying over the years, that this is the time we should welcome the children of Africa back home so that they can unite and build their own motherland. And sitting down and realizing that this is the same message Louis Farrakhan has carried around all this time is very, very good. Now, however much there is a lot of criticism around this topic, that in some type of manner it is considered that this is trying to alienate and divide people around the world so that you can rule them. Now, the people have always been divided. And when you talk about bringing them back, that does not certify a division, that when you talk about breaching the gap between Africa, the diaspora, is not dividing. It is an awakening. This awakening time that a revolution is about to happen. It has started in Burkina Faso and it is going around the world. Are you ready? Are you ready, black folks? Are you ready, the black community? We must appreciate the fact that Africa is doing a lot to unite. And I really want to see a united Africa. I wanted to see a united Caribbean. I want to see a united Middle East. I want to see a united Africa and the American continent at large, the Latin America, the Caribbean, and everywhere around the world. We want to see a united Europe. We all, after all, are human beings, and we need to promote humanity. So what is the problem when we talk about the black unity? Everyone is uniting. Europe has united. America is uniting. But when we talk about the unity of Africa, that's where some people draw the line. Even some of the people from Africa do not want to hear about the unity of Africa. That's how much the brainwashing has been done. The damage is so big. And for us to do a damage control, we really need us to start figuring out where we went wrong. How did we do things? And why are we just not that very much aggressive about the unity of our own continent and the unity of our own people? Are we willing, in whatever way, to be there and unlock every success that has been blocked by the division that has existed between our brothers and sisters everywhere around the world? Are we willing? Are we willing, Africa? Are we willing to support Ibrahim Traore? Are we willing to support Pan-Africanism? These are the bigger question that we are asking today. Now, there is a global solidarity on the issue of the unity of the black folks and the leaders that have been talking about this. Now, I really love when I see people like Julius Malema of South Africa. I do not agree with most of the things or with most of the ideologies he carries around, but I believe, and I want to see him carrying the same message of unity years and years. Even if he becomes the president, he should not change at any given time just because he is the head of the country. That we need to see a solidified Africa, a solidified Caribbean, a solidified diaspora. We want to mention Africa and include Africa in one of the mega developments across the world. And we cannot achieve this, the black community, if we are not united. We can't achieve anything meaningful if we are not united. We've been talking of imperialists. We've been talking about imperialism in Africa and neocolonialism at this level in Africa. How are we going to stop that? Are we still going to talk about the same thing and relax? No. We should actually try as much as we can and change the narrative in Africa. We must not accept the same things to be done that were done to our grandparents. And just listen, as someone does something bad, we ain't going to accept that. Now, we are urging all the diaspora, Africans, and everyone of the black descent to embrace unity and to fight against neocolonialism, and imperialism at the same time. One person cannot achieve this alone. Two people cannot achieve this. We must march as in large numbers so that we can stop this. Now, I want to share Ibrahim Traore's message with you today, that the Burkina Faso leader who came to power via a coup d'etat in September 2022 is actually spreading the message of unity and neocolonialism. Now, he has been championing for Pan-Africanism and self-determination as an African continent and the black community and in the diaspora, both in the diaspora and in Africa. Now, he has been rallying the fight against control of power in Africa, and he has been calling out all black people around the world to unite. And this has been echoing whatever Louis Farrakhan has been standing for a very, very long time, for the African liberation and the black liberation as well. Now, there are a lot of challenges and the Western hypocrisy that still exists in Africa and in the diaspora. We might not want to buy the lies, and you might not want, but you might be forced to. We've been sold a lot of lies about Africa, about the black community, and how much the black community cannot have success, or cannot actually be something bigger themselves. And we say no to this. We are uniting as the black community. We want to change the powers that have controlled Africa. We want Africa to be a better place for everyone, and not a place where things are being looted. And just to summarize everything, and I know it is complex yet impactful, that we must heighten the awareness around personal and communal responsibility. We must be aware, and we must actually acknowledge that we have a responsibility as the black people, and we must concentrate on the economic initiatives that are being carried out with our leaders on self-sufficiency. This is very important for us, and we might not want in any way to rely on someone else for years, because that's whatever tool they have used to manipulate and control Africa. And we must mobilize ourselves, both politically, economically, socially, so that we might have a united front of Africa. And the voter participation in Africa and the Caribbean and in the US is very, very important everywhere, even in the diaspora, for us to elect some good leaders. Now, thank you so much for having taken the time to watch this video. I really appreciate, brothers and sisters. If it's your first time on this channel, please consider subscribing, sharing, commenting, and liking. We share because we want this message to reach many people, and we like for the YouTube algorithm to notice this is a good video, so that it might as well reach so many other more people. Thank you so much. See you in our next episode.